everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have with me Dr. Hugh Flax. He wants me to call him Hugh. Welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here. Always nice to spend time with you.
Yes, likewise, my friend. We have known each other for a few years going back now in the
Mhm.
way back machine,
Sure.
but it's always good to hear updates from you and what you're doing. And you guys, I can't wait for you to hear Hugh's story. He is an amazing, I'm going to tell, he's an amazing dentist and
Mm.
has it going on social media. So, Hugh, I always start with the question, why dentistry for you?
Oh, wow, that's it. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. My mom was very fearful about going to the dentist. Didn't know that at the time. She just stopped smiling, and I thought, we moved down from Massachusetts, and I was a precocious kid, breaking things. I thought she was just mad at me, and my dad says, "Your mom's going to the dentist, and she's very scared." And, she back then in Miami, she would take barbiturates to go to the dentist. Nobody noticed because the '60s and '70s, people were always on drugs there. And, but one day, she went from no smile to smiling, like she was this, effusive person, fun person again. And I said, "Wow, that's really amazing." And I thought I was kind of in a career crisis at 12 years old. I was just already thinking that. And the Beatles had broken up, so I wasn't gonna be the 5th Beatle as I had planned, and, I found out the astronaut program was a little bit too political, and that was during Watergate, and it's like, "Nah, I don't like it's like, "Wow, be a superhero, slay the dragons of fear," for people like my mom, and, the rest is history.
So, you liked making a change in people's lives, is what it sounds like.
Big time, and it's not just the fear part, it's like I was lucky to have Ron Goldstein as a mentor in dental school. It's like having Babe Ruth teaching you how to hit a baseball, and we're still friends after all these years, it's crazy, and, to be able to transform my mom even better than what, her original dentist did would have been great, but, it and just to be able to do that all the time for people, it's fun.
Yeah.
Really is.
Well, what surprised you most about becoming a dentist?
Um, the most surprising thing is that, you put your shingle up and it doesn't matter, you that doesn't make you busy. That's what I thought, you know? You'd watch dentists on TV and it was like, they were always busy, but, that's fake news, and so you have to work hard. And I'm not saying I don't work hard, but it was like the reality was when you run a business, you have to learn business skills. Nothing they taught us in dental school, of course, and about marketing and just customer service and all those things. So I had it in my heart. My I guess my moral code is integrity and just caring for people, and just had to learn to sprinkle that with some other technical skills and things for my business to make us better.
Did you have a mentor coming out of dental school? I mean, like, coming right into private practice or no?
No, 0. I mean, I had to hire somebody to teach me how to, like, do a pegboard, you know, all those things, but I learned, I made a lot of dumb mistakes, and that would be a great lecture, by the way, just all the dumb mistakes I've made, not just all the heroic things I've done, um, and I think that, it's been a journey. I opened in '87, and I can't believe it's almost 40 years since I started this.
Yeah, you do a wide range of procedures in your practice, and I mean, I've seen your work. Hugh is a rare bird speaker, and he speaks internationally. He's got a book. You do a lot of things. What is your favorite procedure, would you say?
Oh, I mean, easy when I can transform a smile, that's what gets me going 'cause, it's like, it's funny, you see people showing, "Oh my god, I look so beautiful," and all that. If people are numb, they don't do that right after the procedure. They talk about fake stuff, but just the hugs and the gratitude and, when they come back later, it's like, "Oh my god, I mean, I'm look in the mirror and I'm doing double takes." and my friends don't even know what I had done. They just say, "God, I'll look great." They don't know what I did. That's the cool thing, is that
Yeah.
you make it look natural, and they don't walk in their smile doesn't walk in the room before they do. They look like real people, and they've got confidence and charisma all over again, and, I help do that. So that's, to me, the best part.
Yeah. One of the patients I had, one time we did, you know, scaling and root planing. We actually did whitening after she healed.
Yeah.
Fun story is that her face recognition on her phone wouldn't recognize her. Isn't that crazy? She's like,
Ask people about that. I never thought of that. That's
"No."
kinda cool.
I was like, that's a testimonial right there, if nothing else."
Yeah. I gotta
'Cause,
write that
during
one
COVID,
down.
we had to do the one with the mask on and,
Yeah.
like, get our alternate face type, but it wouldn't even open her phone. It wouldn't
That
recognize.
actually sounds like change your face recognition with a new smile.
Yes, I know.
Mm.
So in your journey
Mhm.
and, looking back
Mhm.
and going to where you are now, changing smiles with the successful practice that you have and you're lecturing, what would you say you said you didn't really have a mentor. What do you wish someone would have told you?
Wow, that's a great question. One of those things that make you go, "Hmm." Because it's a pretty long list, but I think probably the number one thing is building a team.
Mm,
And, it's like when you play baseball or sports or something like that, there's usually that common bond. And I was a pitcher, so, I always knew I trusted the people behind me. And it's a little different when you're dealing with employees in a very stressful situation because people come in stressed. And so, how do you make it fun? How do you make them want to continue to grow? That was really a big thing for me. I was lucky, maybe 3 or 4 years into my career, I, ended up going to, like a lot of people did, went to see Walter Haley
mm,
in Hunt, Texas, itsy bitsy, and he just showed, one, there's the internal part of your level of confidence, but also connecting with your staff and connecting with patients and all those things. Now, some of it was a little salesy, but nevertheless, those were great skills. And I wish that was something I had when I came out of school, because that really would have helped me out.
what are some I mean, I know everybody's got their flavor of things that have happened with their team, but what is
Mhm.
something that you found that works? Like, if you had to choose one thing and you said, "Here's what brings my team together," what would that one thing be?
High standards.
Mm,
Um, And, that's a little challenging these days because sometimes people go into dentistry just thinking, "Hey, it's a job and all I gotta do is suck spit," or something like that, but, that's not what we do. I hold my team to very high standards of, we have flow sheets for everything. We have, uh, high-end, labs that we work with, and they want detail, and I have to train them to do it. And the ones that I really love are the ones that are like sponges. They say,
yeah.
"Tell me more, tell me more." And I think I may have 2 of those right now, which is really exciting because I've went through that, what they call the valley of the shadow of death, since the pandemic, and some people don't care like I do, and that's, to me, that's really important. Nobody will ever care to that level,
Yeah.
but if you care to this level, that's good. I can fill in the blank.
Do you so when you to attract that high level of standard, I mean, people don't just sometimes show up knowing your standard. So I think that there is a way to obviously screen for it and create that culture.
Mhm.
And so when you're hiring, you have to manage the expectation about what you stand for, right?
Yes, yes.
And so when do
And
you
I
find that you do that?
pardon me?
When do you find that you do that? Like, do you find that it's before they ever come to the interview or
Yes, yes. My office manager has been with me since 2002. She's like my lead guitarist. Yeah, I'm Mick Jagger sometimes, and, I hate to call her Keith Richards, she's much better looking than that, but with that said, we have a great partnership, and she like, she's been reading my mind since 2002,
Mm,
and I did her makeover. She asked me to do it, so she trusted me, and she worked for the guy that was with Pankey down in Florida. So, she, has seen the, evolution of our business over the last 20 something years, and, I, she can screen people and say, "This might be a good candidate." And before I even meet somebody, she's kinda screened them out to see if, like, they're the real deal or it's just fake news.
right. If she's picking up on any red flags.
Yeah, yeah, because you know what? If it's gonna bug me, I know it's gonna bug her because 'cause I'll drive
Mm,
her crazy whining about it, so there's no sense. What do they say? There's no whining in baseball, there's no whining in dentistry,
yeah,
and, that culture has to change, and unfortunately, the world's changed a lot, but I'm gonna be old school. One, I have people that have been with me for 30, 40 years as patients. They are expecting, people to, step in line and take good care of 'em. We spoil our patients with neck pillows and you name it, and there's some that just are, like, don't really care that we're trying to create a, real intimate experience, not intimate in a weird way, intimate, like, that we take care of them. I kiddingly say this, you know what AARP is?
yeah,
What the true definition is the American Association of Retired People.
mhm.
I have that different definition, the Atlanta Anally Retentive Patients. Um, it's funny, I've talked to Ron Goldstein about it. I said, "Yeah, I got all your patients now." Um, and it's true. People I because my mom's experience, I've been spoiling people, since day one,
Okay.
even in dental school. So, my patients have, this just the simple matter of putting a warm neck pillow, giving a nice warm cloth at the end. I like to treat people like they're VIPs. Even
Yeah,
when they get their teeth cleaned, it's the same thing.
wow. I mean, it's like dignity, and to tell people we've got you and that trust that transfers from before they ever walk in. No,
Yeah.
I think that's so funny. I love your acronym. But once people you to your point, once people are accustomed to that standard of care because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, but when you go to an office that's different, you can
Mhm.
feel the difference. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
it's palpable. It's
Yes.
not only the neck pillow, it's how the team is working together. It's what they're saying, what they're not saying. It's, body language, it's gestures,
Mhm.
all the soft things that go along with it, and keep it, kinda keeping it the rest over here if somebody's frustrated.
Right, right. It's communication skills, and you don't have to learn, like, these 10 special phrases or whatever. It what comes from here, what's in your heart. I've had people leave because their office said, "Hey, you gotta go to this insurance provider," or whatever, and, they come back, and I said, "We missed you, but tell me what happened." They said, "Well, the girl had to take a phone call, and she just handed me the floss and said, 'Go ahead and floss your teeth.'" And it's like he was, like, so offended by that. It was like, "You mean I'm not important enough? You can't, like, spend some time with me like that?" So, not everybody I don't think we're hoity-toity here. We treat people like real deal and, connect with them. It really surprises my assistants. It's like, "Wow, these people really know them, and you really know them." Like, "Oh, you went on this trip." Um, I set it up that way. I mean, we have notes about that somewhere, so I don't have to memorize everything. But when you've been with people for 40 years, they come to me like I'm their friend. And, and I've had to get rid of some people that just, like, didn't have that same level of passion.
Do you handle that, or do you let your team handle that, or how does that work?
It's been a little bit of both. I mean, Edie's done that, and sometimes I just have to say, "You fired." Um, I, I'm becoming less tolerant. I'm 65. I'm not that guy on the porch saying, "Get out of my yard." But and I need to I think I've tolerated some things in the last 5 years that it's like, I just won't do it. I mean, I've had people like Edie that have been with me for a long time, and, if anybody comes in and tries to damage that culture because they've got some rock in their head that's loose or whatever it is, um, we ain't got no use for you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
yeah, and it's
I'm protective of the brand.
right, yeah,
Yep.
because that's what I was going to say because they expect it, and then also too, I mean, are you just so sometimes you're dismissing patients too, aren't you? Like, or do you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because that's a real thing as well, because sometimes I mean, that's every office, that's every single office, so, with that, it's always a hard call when that happens.
um, I used to do this, I haven't done it in a while, like, on my birthday, I would fire at least 1 patient, um, so come September, you can ask me if I did that, um, but I've had some people that have kinda self-selected and we'll just say, I don't think this is working out. We're really not on the same page here. We're different, and we work very hard for people. And I don't, it's like I don't want my team being abused or taken advantage of just because people have issues. And it's funny, I've had people that give me great Google reviews. I read their previous Google reviews, and like, boy, they are really, really tough to please. And I think, wow, I'm like special. And then they turn it around like a month or 2 later, and, it's like, "Okay, I kinda anticipated this coming." So, it's better to just have a frank conversation with people, but some people are just a little, um, they're Karen-like, we'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I don't know
they,
the need for guys if guy Karens or not, but yeah,
yeah, I think there's a
dysmorphic people, no, you'll never
yeah,
make them happy.
right, you've worked so hard to build your team that it's not, that type of again, disrupting that culture as even a patient or your integrity from that direction, or even a vendor or manufacturer that you work with.
Yeah. I had
Oh,
one person that really antagonized my lab and was like, "Wait, I've been working with him for 20 years. What's going on here?" And, personality conflict and, um, eventually I had to get rid of the employee because it wasn't the lab.
mm.
That was the problem.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and, my lab, I'm a big believer in teamwork with especially with a lab because I can't do what I do
Mhm.
without them. Just like I can't do what I do without my team here. And but the lab kind of connects a lot of the dots. And I have some labs I've working with for 20 years. So why would I mess that up?
Right, yeah. That's definite trust.
Yeah,
You're not messing that up.
no.
What are some of the favorite courses that you provide internationally?
Oh, that I teach?
Yeah, that you teach.
Um, I think two of them that I do is one about smile design, and that continues to evolve. Uh, just more likely technology. It used to be I could just put something on a, screen for people, and it was almost like using an Etch-a-Sketch. But now we can do it three-dimensionally with Exocad, and then I can print a model and do a mock-up. I mean, that to me is a much better experience because it's like test driving a car. They get to experience what that smile might look like versus me just showing it on a computer. It becomes more trustworthy, and it also gives me feedback about, how they are, but when they can see a video of them before I do the mock-up and then afterwards, it's like, it's a major change for them. It's a lot easier to, motivate them to move forward, and somehow they find the resources to do it if they don't have it. The other one I do is, incorporating the small design, but also with lasers,
Mm,
because I've been using lasers since 2003. That was a big game changer for me because 1, I could use lasers because my mom was so fearful about going to the dentist,
uh,
and I could do fillings for people with oftentimes without anesthesia, but also to do gum lifts and all different kinds of things. Now I can do treatment for sleep apnea, lips, face, probably could use it on my face a little bit. Uh, but I think it's, nice to be able to have those things and, people are really, like, really, trust that I've really immersed myself in technology, and even friends of mine say, "God, Hugh, you're getting old. Why are you buying all these things?" Because I like it. I really like it, and my patients kinda hold me to that standard, and I hold myself to that standard.
Right, yeah, I think there's something about saying the word laser. What I was talking to someone earlier today, we were talking about laser treatment during scaling and root planing and the difference with
Mhm.
that, and it seems like when you say that, people go, "Hmm?" Because it's more of a modern approach, and
Sure.
lasers are cutting edge and, can be predictable and innovative, and so just that name by
Mm.
itself
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
attention.
I'm glad Georgia's finally allowed hygienists to do that. Um, Actually, we're putting on a course with your our mutual friend Valerie Dangler, and it's great. But I mean, I've been pushing for that since the early 2000s, and they just kind of blew it off. And people like Valerie just continue to be very prolific in pursuing this. And now I'm really, really excited about that. And I think that's going to be a standard. Anybody that hires a hygienist,
Mhm,
actually, we're looking right now, and one of the people we interviewed, she's already been using lasers, so
that's good.
that's great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's an adjunct. But that, I was saying earlier too that there's some hygienists who just don't know enough to believe that they work. And it's like, okay, just you have to trust the process. The science is there if you're digging into it.
Mhm,
And through I think seeing the patient and their healing and seeing the accelerated healing and the differences that we're using to just decrease the bacterial load in the mouth for gingivitis patients
mhm.
is phenomenal too, the bacterial reduction.
And seeing is believing, and unfortunately, the gateway to lasers is often limited by who you're working for.
Mm,
And there are a lot of dentists that aren't in that mindset that like lasers really work. It's really unfortunate with erbium lasers. It's like the 3% of the market actually gets one of those lasers, and that to me is the cat's meow for what I do. But you using an Nd:YAG or a diode laser is a game changer for hygienists, and they want to do it, and I think the patients are really excited about that. So I'm looking. We're in our next newsletter. We're going to actually talk about that.
yeah,
Send the newsletter.
that's awesome because I think you should talk
Yeah.
about
Oh, sure, sure.
the value of that. And from a hygienist perspective, it is always limited by where we're going and what the doctor has adopted into their practice, into their workflow, and what they feel comfortable having a conversation around, and the coding for it as well, and reimbursement, of course, if you're in an insurance office, not fee for service. But I'm just advocating for the patient to the hygienist. Hey, buy some of your own stuff. Talk to the doctor about it,
Mhm.
and if you're temping, put it in your bag of tricks for things that you know that you use and that you trust. So no matter where you have your stuff.
Yes, yes, and I think if you're in an environment that just isn't conducive to your wanting to grow or continue your growth, um, I think you just gotta go find another place. I mean, we don't have to be victims of circumstance. I lectured to some hygienists a few years ago, and they were like, and it was about cosmetic dentistry, and they said, "My dentist doesn't do that stuff." And well, there's no reason why they can't. They just need to learn how, or maybe it's not important to them. But we're not prisoners to working for the same people.
Mhm.
It's like I'm not a prisoner of, like we're talking about patients. I don't have to, put up with people that aren't like in a very positive mode with me. And then
Yeah.
it's the same thing with staff. It's like maybe this isn't the right fit.
I think the hardest transition is when you've been we hygienists have been part of a practice, and you learn about something and you really want to bring it in, and then there's that objection, and the we don't really know where the objection's coming from because there's evidence, we can beta test it. There's ways to just slowly integrate it into the practice, not just being like, bam, this is what we're doing, and flipping the whole table over. There's a way to ease it in. But I think that's the hardest part when you realize that you're not aligned after a while. That
Yeah.
doctor I'm just saying doctor, but talking to a lot of hygienists that doctors
Mhm.
here and you wanna grow, or maybe I'm sure it's vice versa.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like now anesthesia is legal here in Georgia. It's like a big year for legal things for hygienists to do now, and hygienists now are like shocked. I mean, you don't use a syringe. I haven't used a syringe in about 4 years because I've been using the Milestones wand, and it's such an amazing experience. I said, "You're not gonna use a syringe. I'll show you how to use the wand, and it'll be a game changer." I have an extra one. I don't just keep it for me. It's there for the hygienist as well, and, it's it's just to be able to do a painless injection is and just people are just shocked about how efficient that is, and they're not dysfunctional the rest of the day is really a great thing. So, I like to be that shining light of what people are looking for patients, but also I think for staff members.
Yeah, because I always work with doctors who are on the cutting edge of things, and they were always bringing stuff home from shows. You know what I'm talking about. Always bringing stuff home, and I'm like, "Now what is this?" I say
Yeah,
home to the office. "What are we doing now? What
yeah.
cool, like, show me. Come on over here. How we doing this?" And then we'd, meet with the manufacturers, the rep, and it would be, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Okay, really, how do we work this into what we're doing?" So, it sounds like you're the same.
And and here's the other thing, you gotta have teamwork here because, implementation is the hardest thing.
Mm,
How many times and I talk about this in my lectures, don't leave my lecture without at least 3 action items and stick to it. It's like that Rocky quote, something it's not how you get hit, it's how you get up, how you handle mistakes and failures and things like that. And I know a lot of people who've gotten erbium lasers that just give up after a few months, and it's part of it is sometimes a uh, an oversell by the manufacturer, which happens like this. The lasers are not the best thing since sliced bread, neither is the wand, but you have to train and you have to be persistent about it, and you have to surround yourself with people who are successful with that and pick their brains. And, that's one of the things that is a shame with continuing education. I'm not saying learning online is bad, but learning together in having that camaraderie is something that's kinda like the missing link right now in
yeah,
terms of training. And the face-to-face opportunities, like, I'm excited to have this course here, and, it's hard to implement complex things, because there's a lot of steps, and you scratch your heads like, "Gee, am I doing it right?" and so forth. Uh, I'll share this with the guy when I bought my first laser. The guy who was, it was a Biolaser, the original water laser, and he said, "Yeah, I've been trained selling lasers for a while," and people back that up, and I was like, "Wow, great guy, I'm lucky to have him." I didn't realize when he was training me and his hand was shaking that he actually had Parkinson's, but I was modeling a guy that said, had been doing this for a while.
oh,
So then
wow.
I took pictures of what and I said, "Why are all those little spots on there?" And then I found out, oh, he had Parkinson's,
Wow.
kinda like a Larry David moment. So, and it was like, "Okay, now I can learn a little bit more about that." So it's not just having mentors, it's having the right mentors too.
Yeah, and that in-person learning, there's nothing else like it. It is to your point, especially with the more complex issues that
Yeah.
you wanna talk to someone about, like, "Am I holding it correctly? Do I need to turn my wrist more? Is the setting correct? Should the
Mhm,
tissue be doing that? Should the
mhm,
tooth be doing that? What's
mhm.
what's going on? Should I stop? Should I go?"
Kind of the ideal way, and actually I had an associate where and I were talking last year, potential associate, and she wanted to assist me chairside so, she could see just the angle of how I held my handpiece and, kinda pick my brain as I'm doing it. It's like, "Why are you doing that to that papilla?" Or I could just say that because
Yeah.
they can see it. That's the beauty of I wish I had a double microscope so that my assistants could actually see some of those things
Mm,
because it's again it's like I'll use the analogy because I love sports, like watching Peyton Manning throw a touchdown. He's telling you what he's doing when he's doing it. I mean, to me, that's the best way to learn.
yeah. Well, it sounds I mean, Hugh, it just everything that you're doing, it just sounds like it's here, and that's what you expect from everyone and everything around you. Any final words for the audience or sage words of advice about,
Mm, boy,
being a
no
dental
pressure
practitioner?
there.
What?
No pressure there. Um,
Based
Other
on your
than you've been a
experience.
great audience, remember to tip your waitress. Whether it's at Kelly. Um, I guess, just be persistent, stick to it, and, I think repetition is the mother of skill.
Mhm.
I've learned that from Tony Robbins, I think, and I think that, things are not you're never gonna learn it right the first time. It's like
Yeah,
when we were babies or kids, we would try to walk and then we'd fall down, but we still kept getting up.
that's
And
right.
then as we grew up, we started like getting in our head about it and was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this or something like that. And it kind of messes you up. But, dental school certainly wasn't the best place to get that loving,
I know.
well,
You're doing such a great job.
no, 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 I didn't get that. It was like Cool Hand Luke. And I was 20 when I started dental school, so they
Oh.
had long hair, so they didn't like that hippie boy, at any rate. But, I was persistent about it. It's funny, I run into some of those, instructors at meetings, and they're very supportive. They
Hmm.
say, "Wow, it's amazing what you've done." I said, "Just you thank you for your mentoring," and I didn't say, "Oh, and you put a chip on my shoulder too." Uh, but it and there are a lot of I talk to other lecturers, they say the same thing. "How'd you get this far?" "Well, somebody put a chip on my shoulder to just keep learning." But you got it. You can't just expect it all to, like, materialize. There's no, like, jump drive to stick in your nose or something like that, and
Right.
you're gonna learn it all. It's gonna take practice, and you gotta be persistent, and this whole idea of just doing it on, this guy here, um, isn't gonna work, I think you gotta, like, really
With
connect
hepatic.
with people. Yeah, I go back a ways, and, just some of the people that with Rare Bird, they were with Generation Next when I got started with that in 1998, and that launched and that was right after doing stuff with Walter Haley. Everybody had a kinda common bond of where they learned, and, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, that we had some, maybe too much fun sometimes, but there was a lot of dialogue going on there. And sometimes I wouldn't always participate in some of the debates, but I would see, okay, I'm hearing different sides of the story.
Mm,
And I think that's what's missing as well in our world. I don't want to get politics, but dentistry can be that way too. It's like there's one group of people say this is the way it should be done, and this group of people say this is the way it should be done. When actually there's got to be like a blend in the middle.
yeah.
It's kind of like a bell curve, and that's why I like people like John Coyce. It's kind of how he teaches, and there. But you got to be open to ideas, but
Yes.
you also gotta pick the ideas that fit for you, but still stay open 'cause that's where the learning is. It's not like going in with an mind like, "You'll accept everything I say." And I tell people this, "Don't accept everything I say, and don't reject anything I say. Take the time to think about it and say, 'Does this fit for me?'"
Yeah.
I
And be
think
discerning to say,
Socrates said that, and, uh, and maybe somebody will say, "Hey, you know what? Have you thought of this?" It's like, "Gee, I didn't do that." So I can learn too. I think that's my dad said, "To 99 you go to school, 100 you die a fool." So, just keep learning. I got a
yeah.
long way.
Stay open, keep learning, keep doing it, be intentional. Thank you. Those are
Yeah,
good words.
thank you.
Well, for those of you guys who wanna reach out to Dr. Flax, there's ways to get in touch with him in the show notes. Follow him on Instagram. You have a great account. Hugh, with your office and all the amazing work that
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, thanks for being on today. And to all of my listeners, thank you so much for all that you do every day. You know, I ask every single time, but go on over to Apple Podcast and give the Dental Handoff a 5-star rating. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and press the bell button now so you're notified when any new episodes begin. And go ahead and like and subscribe so the algorithm recommends it to other people who you love. Thank you, my friends. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Hugh.
Bye.